The Warriors added James Wiseman over a few other top tier prospects that many teams had their eye on. LaMelo Ball went immediately after the Warriors number 3, Patrick Williams went number 4, and then players like Killian Hayes also went within a few different picks. While there are not too many known about the value of the Golden State Warriors pick, it clearly wasn't a deal that wasn't made to happen. There was some speculation before the draft that the team was going to deal the number 2 pick for the number 4 pick and Wendell Carter of the Chicago Bulls. Given that the Warriors just received news of Klay Thompson being out for the rest of the season, or most of the season, if not all of the season, with a serious leg injury, that deal may have been a terrific move for the team, adding size and another scoring option, but it didn't happen, and it went to James Wiseman. With that being said, let's dive into why James Wiseman is going to be a perfect addition for the Golden State Warriors, and why that trade should have never happened in the first place, and why they were smart of keeping him in the first place. Before we even get to that video, before we even get to this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video and the channel before we head into this James Wiseman fit with the Golden State Warriors. We have a lot more other things on the channel as well, with the Therese Halliburton, the Denny Avdija scouting report, and also the Patrick Williams scouting report as well. Make sure to check out the first video of the series, which was Anthony Edwards, reason why he fits with the Timberwolves, on this channel as well. And make sure to, share a comment or so. I'm going to make sure to interact with most of you guys as best as possible. So let us begin. The number one reason why the Warriors got James Wiseman was one of the biggest players in the draft. He possessed an impressive combination of size and mobility. Wiseman runs the floor exceptionally well for a player listed at 7'1" and 247 pounds. With a 9'6" standing reach, his dimensions are a factor around the rim on both ends of the floor. Wiseman should be an impactful force in the paint given his size. It's something that the Warriors desperately needed. For starters, they really just needed a traditional center. Wiseman's size will be a paramount for this team, keeping up with the teams like the Lakers, a franchise with multiple big-time shot players. Also with teams such as the Suns and also the Clippers, which is going to be in his division respectively. Both Marquise Chriss and Kevon Looney spent a bulk of their career at the power forward position, and now they had to adjust playing at the center spot. Same thing for Draymond Green, who had to play some small ball center for the Warriors. Now they'll have a guy that's towering over 7 foot, where compared to last season they had a guy, or a rookie in the sense, a 6'10", Alan Semelajik, which I am not sure about the pronunciation of the name. So guys, make sure to comment, make sure to let me know if that's the correct name, because I had no clue how to say this name. But back onto everything. He was this team's second-round draft pick, but he showed a little bit of time on the floor, just due to him basically being with G League stints, but also to the necessary need due to all the injuries that happened with the Warriors. Now the Warriors have a 7-foot guy that can basically move around the paint, block shots, and also do whatever is needed for the team as far as his size go. And again, similar to a lot of young big men, or a lot of rookie young big men that's coming into the league, Wiseman is going to need some time to develop the strength to match it by doing amount of traditional big men that's around the league. That's only going to happen due basically to lift more weights, get more weight on his body, and be prepared for a lot of beating that's around, that's coming his way, especially against big guys like DeAndre Ayton and Andre Drummond and the rest of them. He is going to be a factor for the Warriors as being their first big with size in a long time. The number 2 reason that the Warriors really need James Wiseman, and he'll be a perfect fit for them, is rim protection and rebound. Now the Warriors ranked 20th in against the 2-point field goal percentage. And again, that was mostly contributed to not having a true rim protector. As I said, I'm going to go back to this center situation from last season, despite the injuries to their star defenders, or basically off of their offseason moves with Iguodala moving on to the Heat and Livingston retiring. Both Chris and Looney are more hustle-minded rebounding options. Even though Chris has a knack for shot blocking ability, it is not truly on display due to his size and also weight, basically throwing around the rim. In this case, Wiseman has that body type to basically go against centers in the low post and block, but not only that, be able to basically defend at the rim using his height and also weight to basically get and around and basically defend against shots. Now again, they don't have the size for the biggest players compared to last season with smaller Jick, and he's not looking too many minutes this season, especially with now more people being on the roster. I think Kevon Looney basically re-signed with the Warriors, and not only that, Smaller Jick is still on the roster, so that will make Wiseman, Looney, and Smaller Jick on the roster right now. Enter Wiseman. Wiseman nonetheless showed some encouraging sides on the defensive end during his brief stint at college level. His length gives him intriguing potential as a rim protector, but like most young bigs, he is still have to be learning how to maximize his tools, particularly away from the rim. Providing some rim protection from the center spot for one of the quickest teams to top to bottom in the country with the Memphis Tigers, Wiseman had some positive moments using his length around the rim. He elevates well for blocks with room to gather, and his sheer reach is frequently a factor on the defensive glass. Although he will have to learn how to play without fouling and how to operate in the pick and roll at the NBA level, but he should be just fine picking up on those aspects of the game while in Golden State. And that's going to be a learning curve for James Wiseman, but I'm pretty sure in due time, especially with more games and more time to basically get around in the NBA, he will learn how to basically not foul so much. We're going to now move on to number 3. The number 3 version, or the number 3 reason why the Warriors think Wiseman is going to be a good fit and why he is a good fit for the Warriors is he is be able to defend guards off switches. Now, this is a potential thing, as I said, because it may not pan out being the floor, but the ceiling is going to be high if Wiseman could switch and defend off switches in the NBA. Now, according to the Athletic, Anthony Slater, Athletic, a prestige, well-known NBA beat writers type of website to basically go to for a lot of sports news and just a lot of rumors and whatnot. Wiseman played a bunch of high-level pickups in Miami with the likes of D'Angelo Russell and John Wall. He found himself in most of those games basically going against possessions guarding big men such as Jahlil Okafor, but occasionally got dragged out in the land of the guards, staring down a barrel of John Wall and Russell isolations, especially off switching. Wiseman did say it during his Miami stint, or Miami pro, I'm not gonna say pro, but basically pickups or program runs or whatever, that he did a lot of switching. Wiseman said, "I felt more comfortable guarding against guards off switches, especially during those pickups. It taught me a lot, especially going into the NBA game." The point is that Wiseman is going to be working a lot on being a switchable big on the defense for the Golden State Warriors, and he has a knack to do it just himself. He's stronger than he is, especially he is very quick. He is still learning how to give himself a cushion and get to the spots early while sliding out to guard on the perimeter, but he shows some growth and intensity in that regard of limited action, especially with his 3-year stint with Miami Tigers. With Wiseman, now you have a player that can play for long stints, will not have to make any subs or adjustments just due to his size, and be able to move fast enough to basically guard out against guards, but also guard against bigs. And he'll be able to hang with smaller lineups and also big lineups, like I said. Now, here's an interesting stat for the Golden State Warriors in terms of switching the pick and roll against guards, especially guarding out in the outside the 15-foot range. Now, the best big that was guarding against that was Kevon Looney. And respectful wise, everybody knows, and especially around the NBA, that Kevon Looney was a person or a big that can guard against guards outside. Now, he was number 1 in the team as far as guarding outside the 15-foot with 35.2% when guarding. Marquise Chris was second with 36.3, and then Draymond Green was third. Still, even though it's some low numbers, 35%, which is very low, it is still somewhat in the NBA average, still high compared to other teams that basically defend, or most bigs that defend outside. As I said, most bigs usually get dropped off for 44% around that area. To have it around 35 is pretty solid, if not good. But I think Wiseman could even make it a little bit better and possibly drop it down to a possible 20 to 29% shooting, which is going to be remarkable. Now, Wiseman being a rookie is not going to be effective right away, but he'll be better in space with his 7'6" wingspan, and with Draymond still being a perimeter defender, the Warriors will be in a good position on the defensive end, especially coming up next season, despite Klay Thompson being out with injury for the rest of the season. Now, the number 4 reason for the Warriors to get Wiseman and why Wiseman is going to be a good fit for them is the capability now having a reliable lob catcher, and not only that, of somebody that can score around the rim. Now, with Wiseman, 18 of his 26 shot attempts throughout his 3-game stint came in with dunks or layups. Wiseman's stay at Memphis provided limited insight onto the nuances of his game, but reinforced what kind of impact he can make with his unique combination of tools and energy. And again, he amassed over half of his possession running the floor in transition or crashing the offensive glass. Wiseman's ability to catch lobs and stay active helped him to earn a fair amount of easy baskets and made him a magnet for contact. He scored a remarkable 1.77 points per finishing opportunity in the half court, which is 100th percentile, and averaged 5 points per game in transition. A massive numbers not even college guards, let alone centers, usually can reach. Among the most imposing, and again, this is through a 3-game stint, among the most imposing physical specimens in college basketball, he drew fouls on 1/3 of his possessions, despite suddenly having the ball in his hands. So that means even though he didn't even have the ball in his hands, Wiseman was still able to score and get to the foul line at ease due to the fact of basically just him moving around and basically catching the ball off passes, off lobs, off cuts, or anything. He's still a big factor in terms of that game. Now, through the 3 games of Wiseman, he ranked number 1 in college basketball and number 1 in American as far as putting back and scoring. He scored 6.3 on putbacks. He ranked number 1 in transition scoring with 5 points per game, and ranked number 3 in cut scoring, 3 points per game. This is something that the Warriors lack for a while since Andrew Bogut and Festus Ezeli days, as they didn't have a reliable lob threat, and now they have it with Wiseman. He's added a component and a potential dominant rim rolling big man. His 7'6" wingspan should allow him to dominate on the pick and roll, with elite playmakers such as Draymond Green and Stephen Curry leading the way as ball handlers. Now, the last and final reason of why James Wiseman is going to be really effective is his inside-out game. There's belief that the jumper could eventually come around with Wiseman and may be a tool featured into his offense, facing up from 18 feet out and even giving freedom to attack off the dribble in the perimeter. On a few occasions, Wiseman did get to operate with the ball. He showed flashes, intriguing touches, and coordination, tossing in a couple of jump shots in the mid-post area, displaying the same mechanics that makes him a consistent free throw shooter, and also give him the potential to space out the floor in the future. He also second-guessed himself on a couple of his touches from 15 feet, as he is still figuring out his scoring identity as a scorer. Besides from the splash ball shooting, which is a very crucial part of the 2015 success, another crucial part was the bigs, and that's including Draymond Green as well. Ability to create off the dribble and passing around the high post and low post area. When you think about 2015, you thought about David Lee, Andrew Bogut, and Festus Ezeli. Even though Festus Ezeli wasn't passing much, he was around the rim being a lob cutter, or basically being a person that can catch lobs and basically finish around the rim. But you have people like Bogut, Maurice Spates, and also David Lee that can show a little bit of passing from the low post and high post area. And a big part, as I said, a big part of the offense was Andrew Bogut. Now, in an interview with one in sportingevents.com, he explains the responsibility of being a center in the Warriors system. Now, being two reasons, he said, being a facilitator is very, very important. Being able to handle the ball with a lot of actions, dribble handoff, split actions, and what we call flow or delay actions, where it may start with a dribble handoff and then it's a read and react type stuff. Whether you want to bounce pass it, the defender might go under the screen and Steph might step behind you for a three, all that kind of stuff. Also too, so you not only got to know how to handle the ball and pass, but you also need to have somewhat of a good basketball IQ to be able to read and react. And this is something that Wiseman is capable of doing. Now, putting in a few decision-making situation for the Memphis Tigers, Wiseman recorded about 1 assist over his 3 starts for the season. Throughout his 3-game stint, of course, but he also committed just 3 turnovers. He showed some ability to handle the ball in space in a high school level, but also served him exclusively as a finisher for the Tigers. Here's one more thing to think about. Wiseman will now get the opportunity due to the fact that Klay Thompson injury. With Klay Thompson missing the season, especially with the devastating injuries to his Achilles, a player like Andrew Wiggins will be expected to pick up some of the offensive loads with a combine of Kelly Oubre, who they just picked up in the offseason. But not only that, you could even look at Wiseman as being a guy that can get a few offensive touches, especially creating around the free throw line to paint area, where you could basically be able to dribble and also create his own jump shot, be able to create off his jumper, or be able to make certain passes and reads with the likes of Draymond Green and other players. So we're going to see if Wiseman can add a few offensive touches to his game for the Golden State. And let's see if Steve Kerr will allow him to do that in the first place. Here are my final thoughts about James Wiseman. While the all-star Golden State trio has many years ahead of him, with Curry being 32 and Thompson and Green being 30, the meaning of urgency to cash in on another title run is very high. Wiseman provides an immediate fit for now, but while also carrying a significant upside into the future. While LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards would have been fine selection, Wiseman is exactly what the Warriors needed at the due time. Now, guys, that's what I got to say about James Wiseman with his fit with the Golden State Warriors. And may I say it, it is the perfect situation that the Warriors got James Wiseman when they did on the second pick. It's a perfect fit for them, especially they need a center. And as far as the overall overview about this video, they need a true center at their position to basically guard against big players, especially something that they lack in many different occasions. Even after the 2016 season, 2017 season, they needed a player that can basically be able to switch out on pick and rolls, which is Kevon Looney in a certain way, but he didn't provide much of what what James Wiseman can contribute for his team right now, which is rebounding, which is shot blocking, and also scoring around the rim. So hopefully the Warriors basically can get their stride, even with Klay Thompson injury, with a certain lineup that they're going to be basically putting out right now with Curry, Andrew Wiggins, Kelly Oubre, Draymond Green, and now potentially James Wiseman playing the center. So hopefully, guys, that will do it right here for Vaughn the Journalist video. I do highly appreciate everybody that's been watching, if you made it all the way to the video. And again, we have merch coming up soon. We got the headband for Vaughn the Gamer. That's my Twitch channel. If you guys want to take a look, you can. It is Vaughn the Gamer 1 on Twitch. Make sure to also figure out or go on to my Instagram, which is Vaughn the Journalist, and my Twitter at Tavon56. on Twitter. Make sure to check it out for all the news or what I'm thinking about doing, or all the updates that I'm thinking for the video that is going to be coming along just soon for you guys. Now also guys, I want to make sure, if you love this video, if you are a Golden State Warriors fan and you have some comments about James Wiseman and how you think he will fit on the team and just a certain situation or your thoughts about it, make sure to leave a comment down below. Make sure to leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and make sure to subscribe for more content around these rookies, but also just more content about the NBA if you're just an NBA fan in general. Now guys, I'm gonna be out of here. I do highly appreciate every one of you guys, man. Check out the videos that's coming up as well. I'm gonna be doing on the number 3 pick, which is gonna be LaMelo Ball going to the Hornets. That's something you guys want to see for sure. And not only that, make sure to check out the previous videos from before, especially scouting reports on Denny Avdija, Patrick Williams, Tyrese Halliburton, and also Killian Hayes. Not to mind the number 1 pick video with Anthony Edwards. Make sure to check that out as well. Thank you guys for being here. Peace.